got some pretty cool stuff today. We're going to talk a little bit about Western fishing. This episode is going to kind of center around this year's U.S. Open at Lake Mead. It's first year that it's been back at Mead in, what, 7 years, Billy? 6 years?
2021. Was 21 the last year
Yep.
that the U.S. Open was there, right? Yeah.
So I feel like it's not a U.S. Open unless it's at Mead. And I know there's other people that agree with that statement, but Mojave has had a lot of success. It being in Laughlin, the giant smallmouth. You've had a really good showing there. The results were awesome. I mean, you're talking 22, 23 pound bags pretty consistently at that place for your top finishers. But the challenge of Mead, it's like Rick Clunn always said, it's the ultimate tournament lake. It's the Iditarod of bass fishing.
Yep.
And it's the
especially when it was that time of year back when he's talking about in July when it was
in July
25 degrees. That was
exactly.
definitely the Iditarod. But we started rapidly losing anglers and finding out that hospitals were being overrun by anglers getting liquid IVs after a day of fishing. That we noticed there was a need for a change because less co-anglers could actually participate at that time of year because of the heat. And so we slowly started moving it later in the year, September for a number of years. And then October, found a pretty good home for October because the elites were always done by October. Because every year I'd put a schedule out, I'd find out 2 weeks later the Bass had an event 3 days later or something, which meant Rick Clunn and the guys that like to come out couldn't come. So we moved it into October, beginning of October, which helped a lot in the participation because it's a more temperate time of year. More people could attend. It's not so harsh on people's health, if you will, during the summertime. And it really, obviously, my friendship with Aaron Martins early on when I started in 2010 had a huge motivational factor on building the U.S. Open to what it is again today, known as the West's greatest event. And even some of the elite guys say it's number 2 on the list of all-time tournaments next to the Classic. So, you've got to care about that, want to make a difference, and continue to highlight our Western anglers. And truly, it's the only tournament our Western anglers, pros, get a chance to fish against the guys and see how they muster up.
And our last champion out at Mead is with us here, Dylan. Dylan's been with us here before with Kevin Hugo. We had a good episode on Western fishing. And me and Dylan have talked about after that tournament. I'm with the belief that switching it to October, and especially the last couple of years, it's as good as I've ever seen the fishing at Mead.
I agree.
Would you say the same, Dylan?
Absolutely. I mean, Julius Maisie caught a 19-pound bag in 24, and then I was able to catch 17 and a half in 25. So, and then I think the local guys are even cracking 20 bags in their derbies. So, I mean, fishing's been really good. The fish are healthy. And like Billy was saying, it's a lot more, it's just way more special at that lake Mojave's a great lake. It's fun to fish too, but I grew up hearing nothing but stories about Lake Mead and WON Bass, and knew I was going to fish it one day. And it's great to see it back, at least for this year.
At least for this year, that's for sure.
I hope something
It's
changes
hard to say.
because
I
I
mean,
want to see it keep going back.
yeah, well, it all depends on the water. And, I get
Yeah.
phone calls at least one a day saying, "Hey, Bill, we still going to Mead?" Yes, we're still going to Mead, but the water's low. Yep,
I was
it
one of those.
it will be it will be what it's going to be, but we will 100% run this event at Lake Mead this year. Whether or not we can come back, it's a whole nother story. Um, it is getting low, but Colville Bay is guaranteed that they have mats, tractors, equipment ready on hand, and they continue to keep working on the ramp to continue keeping it open. And they guarantee by the time we come around, given some act of God, we'll have 2 lanes at Colville during the tournament. A lot of guys will have to launch over at Hemingway and come across, which is perfectly fine. But Colville is and will be the permanent home of the U.S. Open because of the relationship we've built with Colville Bay. It's very unfortunate that Kim Roundtree is finally retiring and will have retired just prior to this year's U.S. Open. But I've worked with the rest of the team for many years. And a lot of people say, "Hey, well, why don't you just go over to Hemingway and do it there?" And I don't have a problem with Hemingway. The only problem with Hemingway is that at Hemingway, you're dealing with the national parks. There's not a concessionaire of that marina that I can get on the phone and say, "Hey, Kim, hey, Mike, I need this stat," where it doesn't have to go across 7 desks to get permission for me to move a bump tank or to do something that's necessary for the tournament. You can't run a tournament when there's so many levels of bureaucracy, if you will, to get an answer made now for things that need to be answered when you're working a big tournament like that. So the benefits of being at Colville are two. They cater to the anglers a lot. A lot of the anglers I've been telling recently the opportunity at Colville now, since all the houseboats have already been rented, is to get a slip at Colville that has power. They will rent them for $25 a day for the US Open until they run out of slips. And they're trying to create as many as they possibly can so that the anglers that are fishing the US Open can put their boat in a slip, charge it overnight, and not have to deal with launching every day, which will make things a lot easier on a lot of competitors if they choose to do something like that.
Yeah, if you can even get 40 boats to do that, that's 30 minutes of launching that you don't have to
Yep.
deal with in the morning.
Yeah.
Because you're down
And
to what, two lanes now, if you're lucky.
yeah, 2 lanes. And that's in my terms, 2 lanes. Because usually when they say, "Oh, we got 2 lanes," that means 3 lanes in my terms. I'm counting on 2 lanes, 2 bass boat lanes. Because I can turn 1 lane into two, but I can't turn one really bad one into two. But typically, when they've said, "Hey, we got one lane or 2 lanes," it was no, you've got 3 lanes. If you've got somebody like me at the dock or at the ramp going, "Okay, you're next," okay, and I'm literally on the dock on the ramp, aren't I, Dylan? With a
I can vouch.
flashlight, yelling at people, going, "What are you waiting for? Stage. You're going in lane 3. Pull around. Get ready. As soon as he's out, you back in." It's got to be like a choreographed situation, or else literally everybody asks, "Well, where's your biggest problem in running tournaments?" It's wherever the veins can get clogged, and the launch ramp is a big one. Because if the arteries get clogged, the heart doesn't work. If the heart's not working, everything else isn't working. So you got to make sure that the veins are clear at all times.
And we had this same exact situation in 21, same slogan and everything, come hell or low water. We had 2 lanes and it worked phenomenal. I mean, way in, getting the boats out was a little bit longer, but other than that, I mean, it was fabulous. There was no problems at all. And with the amount of slips we're going to have this year and the guys launching from Hemingway, I'm not worried one bit.
No, it should be no problem. It's a 200 boat cap. We already have over 100 pro entries and over 100 co-angler entries at this point. So, um, heard a lot of great things from a lot of good people that are planning on attending. We may even have a classic 2026 classic champion at the tournament this year.
Nice.
And a bunch of
I was just
his buddies.
I was just going to ask you, do you have any big names signed up yet?
Byron just called me yesterday. He's coming out. His daughter's going to be fishing the co-angler side, so he's going to be fishing it. Rick Clun has talked about coming out. Matt Becker, as soon as I told him at the Classic, actually, I didn't even, hey, I got good news for you. He's like, what, we're going to meet? I said, yep. He goes, I'll see you there. It was funny because I called Spencer Sheffield right after we made the announcement at the Classic about going back to Mead. I'm like, hey, bud, we're going back to Mead this year. He goes, oh, well, it was good. I get to win it on a different lake. I'm like, I figured that's how you'd feel.
Nice.
So Milliken won't be back this year because he moved further east than Texas now. So he's further away. I hit him up the other day. But Gary Klein said he'd be there if it's at Mead. John Murray's going to come back. I just got off the phone with the guys at Bass Pro Shops. So they're trying to get some of their big name guys to come out and fish it this year as well. Who'd you like to have? I'm like, Van Dam would be pretty cool.
Right.
So
I don't know if he's probably never
ago.
fished Mead, has he?
No, I've talked to him every single year that I've seen him either at classics or everywhere. And now that he's semi-retired, it was funny because after probably 5 classics talking to him, I finally looked next to him where his wife was standing, and I looked at her and I go, I've been talking to the wrong person the whole time, haven't I? She's like, yep. So
Yep.
I talked to her and told her, hey, you need to make it a vacation. Come out and see Utah. Come see Arizona. Come see Nevada. Come make it a trip. So when I was on the phone with Bass Pro Shops, they're like, anybody you'd like to have come out? And I'm like, Van Dam would be pretty cool. They said, well, we'll make that phone call. Can't guarantee it. But everybody's got it on their bucket list. You know, I talked to them at the Classic. Doesn't matter who they are, what level of angler they are, everybody wants to fish the US Open at some point. It's just committing to making that trek across country to do it.
For sure. Dylan, what's your history in fishing the US Open?
I fished my first one in 2019, and I had to stop after 21, which was the last one because of the business. And then as soon as I found out that the Lake Mead Open was back in actually 24, I tried to make that one, but I couldn't squeeze it. But I fished, some Havasu ones. I fished just recently the Clear Lake one and plan to fish as many as I can. But Mead's just been a special place. It's something that I've heard growing up, and I've actually gotten to learn a lot, and it all kind of ties in with the last year's win. So last year I came to weigh in early, at least 15, 20 minutes every single time. And the reason because of that is I've been DQ'd in one bass. If you are late, even a second, you do not lose a pound, you do not lose an ounce, you are DQ'd, you're done for that day. And I had known that rule. I really wasn't.
How did you learn that rule?
I learned it the hard way, but there's a good backstory to it. So the year in 2020, I was just in between jobs. My wife was killing it in her business. We were financially stable, and I had a lot of time off. The guy I was traveling with, Dave, is retired or semi-retired. So we decided, hey, let's go to Lake Mead and just spend a lot of time and try to be prepared. And so that year I spent something crazy. Both him and I don't even know, like 20 days on the water, and worked so hard. I mean, had hundreds of waypoints. I was so prepared for that 2020, and it's the very first day. I got a good co-angler. We kind of struggled in the morning, but right towards the end of the day, I had a late draw that we did cap that year in 2020. I think there was 250 boats or 253. And so my weigh-in, my check-in was like 5:45 or something crazy. And I was still pretty far down the lake, and it was like 5:15. And I'm like, man, we really got to go, but we're coaling as we're doing that. And finally, I'm like, we're going to run. Let's just get out of here. And I get about halfway to the ramp, and my boat alarm starts going off. And so I hurry up, took off pad and shut it down. I didn't really know what to do at that situation, but I got to get in regardless. So I was like, well, I mean, there's a Mercury trailer there. If I don't blow up, if I can at least make it to the ramp, we're good. We're solid. So I fired it right back up. Luckily, the alarm didn't come back on, but just by getting off pad, that wasted at least 3 to 5 minutes. And that was everything extra that I had to get back. And I remember coming in the check-in boat racing. I didn't trim down at all. There's huge wakes. We're jumping. And I came off pad at the check-in boat, and it was a minute too late. And I shouted my boat number, and he's like, "You're late." And I'm like, there goes the tournament. But it was a hard lesson learned, but it was right, because the next morning, I mean, I remember going back to camp, and I was so furious because all I could think about is it wasn't my fault, the boat, and I was trying not to blame myself when in all reality it was my fault. And Billy kind of gave me that stern reality check the next morning and said, "Hey, do you understand what happened?" And I said, "Yes, sir." And he's like, "Well, you'll never be late again." And he's right. I'll never be late again. I will push it to the limit every once in a while, but last year I absolutely did not, especially with the weight that I had. And I just wanted to get in and make sure we're good.
And that's a game that
it doesn't happen.
gotta,
It doesn't happen often to the same guy.
no, that's for sure. I was cutting it really close last year there. I I didn't have a great bag, but I had about 45-minute run. I was fishing all the way up in Temple Bar, and we had like 3 or 4 footers rolling through there. And I had about a 45-minute run to weigh in. And I had 4 fish in the box, 4 halfway decent fish. But I had some fish in a couple of those coves prior to Colville on the way back in. And I'm looking at my watch going, dude, we are pushing it really, really close. And I get to the narrows, and I'm hauling ass through the narrows. And I look at my co-angler, and I said, I got one more stop we can make, but I literally only have 1 or 2 casts. We are really, really pushing. And he goes, well, you only got 4 fish. Let's try it. I pull into a cut, very first cast, 3.5 pound smallmouth, put it in the box. Life jackets on, high fives as we're idling out of there. And I made it probably with 30 seconds to spare. So at that place, I mean, one bite like that, 1 3.5 pound bite, that bite put me in 17th place over with 100 boats in that tournament, because I took that chance. And with the weights the way they are at that place, one bite like that can completely change your tournament. But you got to play it smart.
Absolutely.
Well, Joey Ribe pulled an 8-pounder out of there last year at the Lake Mead Open. And I think a year before that, another 8 was caught by Mike Walsh, I think. So Mead's got some good sized fish in it.
It's got big
The beauty
ones.
of Mead is finding the fish. It kind of, not that scoping won't be used at Mead, but it's not such a dominant player because it's so big. You got to find the fish first.
To me, that's one of the biggest draws for a co-angler for the U.S. Open. Not only do you have some of the bigger names that you have a chance to draw, back in when Aaron was still alive, you had a chance of drawing one of the best bass fishermen to ever live in Aaron Martins. You can draw Rick Clunn. You can the Western legends, John Murray, Gary Klein. You can draw guys like that. And as Billy kind of hinted, we might have some, younger anglers that are dominating the sport show up this year. You have a shot to draw those guys, but you're not going to be stuck in the back of the boat with a scoper out in the middle of nowhere, not being able to catch fish. But what's even cooler is you're fishing as a team. You're not fishing for your own fish. You're fishing for 5 fish combined. And if your boater is smart, if your pro is smart, he'll put you in the position to help them out. And that's what I
Right.
try to do every single time I fish a WON Bass tournament is it's a team tournament. Don't leave your co-angler high and dry in the back of the boat, not being able to catch fish. At Mead, that's typically not really an issue because you're trying to find the grass, you're trying to find fish around grass. You can make casts pretty much no matter where you're at to be able to be effective. But to me, that's one of the coolest things about it is the team format. That's why co-anglers should be signing up for this tournament.
Shared weight format's the best way to go about running tournaments like this because it allows for a team effort and to utilize the co-angler or the pro in the efficient way possible, which in today's age of scoping brings that AAA to the front deck with the pro to learn and to assist. Because even when I go fishing with my buddy Adam, we're on one boat with one transducer, one screen, but two people can be looking up there and go, oh, there's two fish. You get the one in front. I'm going for the one in the back and try to tag team those fish on the screen. And the smart people, that's what I think they should be doing out there, is utilizing it to their benefit. But non-shared weight format doesn't lend that. And that's one of the reasons we've had so much success because watching MLF, FLW, all the organizations that don't shoot shared weight formats in the now 18 years I've been running tournaments, we have graduated more AAAs to the pro side than any other circuit out there because we give them the opportunity to fish with a pro, to learn from a pro, and then say, I want to do that. I want to be in charge of my own decisions. I'm going to go buy a boat, rods and reels, lures, and help this whole economic fishing cycle continue. Because if we aren't getting new people into boats, then our sport's dying. So it's
Billy,
a huge benefit
Billy,
of a shared weight format.
do you have a couple cool stories you can tell us about US Open before we get into revealing what we really want to reveal in this episode?
It depends on what kind of stories. I've seen it all, heard it all. Um, I mean, one of these days I'll probably write a book, 1,001 Dumb Questions in Bass Fishing. And usually the number one dumb question is, what time's registration? Or where's registration? Or what time do I have to be off the water? And I'm like, you mean all the stuff that's on that website that we spend a lot of money, time to keep it up and the info up to date? That place? Or lately it's been, I don't need to go to that meeting, do I? And I'm like, I don't know, turn around. And they'll turn around and I'm like, it doesn't say special on the back of your shirt. And they're like, oh. I'm like, yeah, guess you're not special. You got to go to the meeting. It's just the way it is. Everybody tries to get out of as much things as possible. Stories. Um, yeah, I've got a good one. And I've told this a few times. We're at Clear Lake, and in the AAA amateur co-angler side, we had a gentleman who was in the service. I think it was a Marine, young kid, probably maybe 2021. Signed up for the Clear Lake Open, had never fished a tournament before, never fished shared weight, non-shared weight, anything. So it was all new for him. So he was asking a lot of questions prior to the tournament, prior to the meeting and the text messages and everything that happens. And so I got kind of fond of this kid because he he really wanted to put the best effort he could into this tournament. So it's day one. We're at Clear Lake at Lakeport. I'm on the stage and we're weighing fish, and guys come across up the stairs to weigh their fish, and the left side of the stage is usually for people exiting, right? So I'm talking on stage, and my peripheral, I keep seeing a body kind of over here that shouldn't be there, and I'm looking over and I see it's this kid, and I'm like, so I weighed this person and I put the mic down. I'm like, everything okay? And he was white as a ghost, stuttering, and I'm like, take a breath. Is everybody okay? Is somebody hurt? No, no. I go, okay, tell me what happened. Well, um, um, I, my pro dropped me off at the docks, told me to bring the fish up to get them weighed and to meet him back down here for the ride back. And I'm like, okay. So what happened? He goes, well, when he dropped me off at the dock, I walked past the release boat, and the release boat guys said, here, I'll take those, and grabbed his fish and
Oh
put him in the release boat
no.
before he could ever get him to the stage. So I'm still weighing people, and I've got people waiting, and I'm like, oh, that's okay. Hold on a minute. I go, don't go anywhere. I go, wait a minute, who'd you fish with? And he goes, Brett Lieber. And I'm like, he's not going to kill you. Hold on. So I go weigh a couple fish, and I tell Tracy, my bump master, I go, Tracy, I need you to weigh a couple fish. I got to go handle something, because originally I told the kid, well, just go wait for Brett on the ramp when he comes up. Just explain to him what happened. Yes, it's shitty. He's gonna say a couple 4-letter words. He's gonna act really pissed off, but he won't kill you. I promise. So I go back to weighing fish, and I look and I see Brett pulling up because the weighing stage is right next to the ramp. And I see Brett pull up, and I see the kid standing at the ramp at the end, and I'm like, Tracy, take over. So I run down to the ramp and I'm like, hey, Brett. He's like, yeah. And Brett had like 24 pounds that day. It was
Ouch.
a good bag. This was when, this wasn't the 30 something pound bag days. This was a couple of years prior to that. And 24 pounds was a good bag at Clear Lake in April. And I'm like, Brett, something happened. What? We had a great day, good fish, good bag. Everything was great. Go, yeah, but unfortunately, the kid didn't know not to give the fish to the release boat before he weighed them in. And he's like, what? And 4-letter words came out. The kid felt terrible. And about 2 minutes later, see Brett change his mood. And he's like, kid, get in the boat. Let's go. Don't worry. Shit happens. Brett wanted to go home that day, but he showed up the next morning like a pro, like he always does, and went out fishing. I've only seen that happen once. It hasn't happened a second time yet. We've had a female angler that registered for a tournament, went to a registration meeting, and no showed for 3 days, and had to call the cops day two because at that point we were all worried for her safety. So that was another situation. Um, I had a guy at Clear Lake, unfortunately he's passed away now, who was having some maybe medical issues at the time and fell out of the boat. His life jacket inflated because it was, inflated, inflating PFD. And his pro's like, hey, come on, we need to get you in the boat. We need to go back to Wands. We got fish to weigh. You're going to get hypothermia. Let's get you in the boat. The guy refused to get in the boat. He's like, no, I'm fine. I'm just going to stay here. And the pro's like, what do you mean you're going to stay here? You can't stay in the water. I can't leave you here. I got to go weigh these fish. You got to get into this boat. He's like, no, I'm not going in like this with my PFD. Da, da, da. So the pro said he had to stab the PFD device to get it to deflate just to get the guy to get back on the boat. And then the story that gentleman told me matched nothing that the pro told me. And it was just like, okay, it's just strange stuff, odd kind of strange stuff. And then you get people over 18 years of running fishing tournaments that'll come up to me and go, Hey, I heard we don't have a co for tomorrow. I'm good to go solo tomorrow. Oh, are you the tournament director? I thought I was the tournament director. Well, yeah, you're the tournament. Well, I think I'm the one that decides whether you go out tomorrow solo or not, aren't I? And as far as I'm concerned, you're not going out solo tomorrow. So thank you. Just, stuff like that.
Everyday tournament
I
director
love what I
stuff.
do. I do love what I do.
You do, and it shows.
And you're really good at it.
You
Well,
are
thank
good
you.
at it.
I tell you what, we haven't gotten any resumes for my job, that's for sure.
You have the toughest job on the planet, no doubt.
I always say, people ask me, like, I was just recently in Hawaii. I was at a bar waiting for my flight, and this lady's like, "What do you do?" And I'm like, "I run tournaments." And she's like, "What does that really entail?" I go, "Well, I babysit 1,000 men, a few women." She laughs. She goes, "That makes pretty good sense." And it's true. I mean, my phone rings at all hours, any hours, every day. And my latest trend has been answering the phone on a Sunday saying, "Hey, happy Sunday." Yeah, Bill, can I, did you miss that Sunday part? No, but can I, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. But that's my job.
Well, I'm gonna turn it over to Dylan here. I got a phone call from Dylan maybe 4 months ago or something like that. He calls me and says, "Hey, I've got an idea, and I want your thoughts on it. I want to do something for Western fishing." And Dylan, I'm going to let you tell the audience what your plan was and what we're doing here today.
Yeah, so my company, Denny Construction, which is a grading and excavating business here in Prescott, Arizona, I'm going to go ahead and sponsor the entry fee for one co-angler, and we are going to do this through the Bass Fish and Dive Bar podcast to get somebody the opportunity to go out here and experience the U.S. Open. It's one of the most incredible tournaments you're going to fish. Billy just said earlier, I mean, it's probably top 3 in the nation. And this would be a really good opportunity to get somebody involved. And just like he said, bring a AAA in here and get started. And who knows, might be fishing from the pro side eventually. And who knows, maybe it's an already experienced guy that gets a good opportunity too, especially as a co-angler as well.
Yeah, you got names like a Rick Clunn, like John Murray, one of the young dominating pros that are coming up potentially. You might draw one of those guys and fish as a team with them for a full day. And you might draw 2 of them. And you might go home with a big old check.
Yeah, and fishing's only half the gig. I mean, from the sponsors row to the Hall of Fame awards, I mean, One Bass puts on an incredible show. The relationships you build, I'm friends with almost every single co-angler. Some of them I talk business with or life or whatever, and the format makes you work together. Everything about it is amazing, and more people have got experience this. I'm pretty sure that this is going to cap, and this is at least going to reserve one spot for somebody to go in there and fish.
The relationships
awesome,
are a
Dylan.
huge part of it. I got a wedding invitation. The 3.5 pounder that I talked about boating on day 1 of last year's Lake Mead Open. I got a wedding invitation from the kid that I fished with, Corey. And I mean, that's how well we hit it off. And, I value those kind of friendships that you make on the water as much as any close relationship that I've got. It's such a cool deal, fishing with a good co-angler that wants to do well for you, wants to help out, and values that friendship as well.
And it's going to provide a lot of top tier fishing for anybody too. Like, I just went right into it on the pro side. I was and had the intention to go on the co side, but never really did. And I really think whether you're on the co side, the pro side, the amount you're going to learn is incredible. I learned my very first one in 2019. I remember texting, I don't remember who now, but I texted them, I learned more in this 1 week of fishing than I had the entire year. Just because going back to my baseball days, our coaches used to always put us against guys that were leagues above us, and we'd get the shit kicked out of us. But he did it on purpose because we are now going to go play against guys that are going to show us the ropes, how they perform, their talent level, how they carry themselves. And one bass has definitely taught me that, even my first tournament, and getting DQ'd. And there's just so much opportunity at one bass. Plus, you have an opportunity and a shot to go and fish Bass Nation. So, there's so much here at one bass.
Billy, what's the entry fee for a co-angler in this U.S. Open?
Entry fee for a co-angler is $600, and pro is $1,600. That's pretty cool, Dylan, that you're going to offer that up to a AAA. How are you going to award that? Have you guys figured that part out yet?
We are going to air this next Monday. Let me look at the date here. We're going to air this on Monday, July 27th, and we're going to let it go for the week. And as long as Kurt and Dylan are open on the schedules, I'd like to go live on July 31st, Friday, just for a few minutes and do a random name generator, throw all the names in the hat and generate a name for our winner. So we'll announce that for sure. Kurt, do you think you're available next Friday or that Friday, the 31st?
No.
Okay, then me and Dylan will have to work that out. Me and Dylan will run that live because I talked to Dylan about it. I think he's free. But we'll let it run for the week. We're going to require 3 things. If you're on Facebook, follow us on Facebook if you aren't already. If you're on Instagram, follow us on Instagram. And the most important ones are subscribe to Bass Fishing Dive Bar on YouTube. Let me show that again. Like this episode, and then comment on this episode on YouTube, hashtag 2026 WON Bass US Open. And we will go through and confirm. I'll leave that up. We'll confirm everybody who has liked, subscribed, and commented on this episode. Your name will be thrown in that hat. We will generate a name. We'll pick a winner live. And we'll contact you and get you all set up. It's a $600 entry fee for a co-angler. It's invaluable. If you're looking to get into tournament fishing and fishing with, some of the top names in the West, and not even the West, Spencer Sheffield's coming out. If he's coming out, you got a U.S. Open champion. And how many other big tournaments he's won back in Arkansas and the Midwest? The kid's a stick. So you got a shot at drawing somebody like that. Bertrand. Yeah. It's a really, really cool deal. And Billy, you haven't really mentioned what's the deal with Bass Pro Shops this year?
So Bass Pro Shops, obviously, Ranger Boats is our title sponsor with Mercury Marine. Bass Pro Shops, with their store location in Las Vegas, we're bringing the Expo, Hall of Fame, and the meeting all to the Bass Pro Shops Las Vegas location, October 3rd, which is an off-limits day. I have posted that there is no off-limits period prior to the U.S. Open because of the late change to Lake Mead. I didn't feel it was necessary to put a off-limit period on there, but October 8th is off limits. The day before the tournament's always off limits for the Expo, the Hall of Fame, and the meeting. But we're going to be doing all of that at the Bass Pro Shops in Las Vegas, inside the store. They're going to be moving all the boats out. We're going to, just like we've done in the past at the Edge Pavilion and Laughlin, have all the chairs out there, stage, everything, and Bass Pro Shops is rolling out the red carpet for us. They're talking about bringing out some high-profile names, not only to fish, but to attend the event. The public's welcome to come to the October 8th event. There at the store, come meet your favorite anglers, get some autographs, meet some of the sponsors. So they'll be doing a little promotion piece at all the other Bass Pro Shop stores here in California and Arizona, trying to drum up some public interest to get some people out there. Kent Brown's daughter, who was a runner up on, I think, The Voice, has a country music. It's been signed. And so she's going to be playing at the Old Red bar in Las Vegas, same few days as US Open. So Bass Pro Shops is trying to coordinate with Old Red to have like a anglers appreciation evening right after the expo ends for hors d'oeuvres and cocktails while she performs there. And she may be, if not doing the national anthem for us one morning, possibly each day of the US Open, which is pretty cool. But Mercury's bringing out their service truck, Ranger's bringing out their service truck, Power Pole sending out Happy to take care of power poles and any battery issues and things like that, or charger issues. We've got all of our sponsors will be there. Stealth Lithium batteries will be there selling batteries to anybody that needs some batteries. Bridgeford Food. Dylan, you won a Bridgeford in the boat, didn't you?
I won a different one.
You won a different one. Which one was that?
It was the Clear Lake part. I think something to do
Oh yeah, you won the Stealth free entry,
yeah.
right? Stealth batteries or something like that. That's right. Okay, but Bridgeford is a huge sponsor. They give away a free entry at every single event of ours for a pro and a co through an incentive program. If you purchase a bag of foods prior to any of our events within 30 days of the event, show it to us at registration. Your name goes in a random hat. If you're randomly drawn at the weigh-ins and you had fulfilled that receipt requirement, Bridgeford will pay for your entry into that tournament the following year. So huge sponsorship opportunity there, let alone the $10,000 that Bridgeford's putting up for our Angler of the Year on the pro side. Like Dylan mentioned, our partnership with Bass, where after the U.S. Open, the top five in Angler of the Year points get invited to the Bass Nation Championship in 2027, as well as the highest finishing pro and co at the U.S. Open itself. Also get a sixth invite to that Bass Nation Championship. And then we got 20 guys that fished Shasta, Clear Lake, and Havasu that qualified for a Western Regional Bass Nation event at Clear Lake next year, where if they get a top 10 there, they get to go straight to the 2027 Bass Nation Championship. So lots of cool ways to, chase the dream through WAN Bass and our partnerships, not only with Bass Pro Shops, Mercury Marine, but Bassmaster, which was something I've been working on for 9-10 years. And it finally came together a couple of years ago, which is huge.
Well, Dylan, I want to say thank you to you for stepping up and doing this. It's awesome that you want to give back to Western fishing the way that you do. I know you care a lot about it. We've talked about that a lot on the phone and on the previous podcast with when you were on here with Kevin.
Absolutely. Yeah. I just love Lake Mead, love the US Open and WAN Bass. And just like Billy was saying, there's so much opportunity, and I've been blessed to get some of that opportunity. And I just want to be able to give some of that back and see where it goes.
It'll be awesome. A cool deal. And I'm gonna want to do a follow-up episode if the winner is willing, have them come on here with Dylan and tell their story about how it went.
Absolutely.
Tell all the stories about pre-tournament practice if they're able to practice. What happened during the tournament? Who did you fish with? How well did you do? And just tell their whole story about the experience. That way we can get more and more Western guys out here, get it on a platform. Our following isn't all that huge right now, but we're working on that. We're working hard to get a bigger following, and hopefully this helps with that as well.
And all the free stuff you'll get at the expo.
Exactly. And who knows, you may win Bridgeford in the boat and win another entry.
Yep.
So yeah, I think it's a pretty cool deal. When you called me, Dylan, I was stoked on the idea. It's going to be cool. It'd be cool to see that person at the expo, talk to them about it. See the excitement on their face. If they haven't fished one of these things before, it's cool. Showing up at one of these expos prior, seeing all these names walking around, it's as somebody who's pretty new to it, or even if you're a pro who's fished a couple pro tournaments that you don't have a whole lot of success. It gets a little intimidating seeing those names walk around.
Oh, I was so intimidated my first tournament. I was shaking, man. I mean, you look to your left and there's Clifford Purge. You look to your right and there's Brett Height and everybody you watched on TV your whole life. And at some point you have to just get that out of your head and go get your job done. But that first US Open experience is the best. And that's why I'm kind of hoping it'd be really cool if it was somebody that's never fished before, but I'm totally cool the other way too. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's a cool feeling. I remember clear as day the first one that I ever fished. I think we were staying at Boulder Station. I think that was the host hotel. That's where you did the expo, Billy, and walking in there and seeing Aaron Martin sitting right in front of me during the tournament meeting. I was like, holy crap, this is what I'm up against. And of course I fell on my face, but you spend a little bit more time out there and get the experience. I was there. That's all part of it, is going through that. So,
well, I appreciate you guys having me on, and Dylan, for you offering up that free AAA entry through these guys here and their podcast. So look forward to seeing the after show, who won it, and then meeting them out there and seeing all of you guys out there. It's going to be awesome. So I really appreciate the opportunity to come on and talk about the US Open and WAM Bass. And, I'm really easy to get a hold of on any of our social media platforms. All the emails, questions, things go to me. So if anybody's listening to this and wants to know more information, hit me up anytime.
Thank you for coming on, Billy. And thanks for coming on, Dylan. And thanks for everything you're doing.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot.
All right. We'll see you guys later.
Bye, guys.
Peace.